You'll be my forever friend. This love will never end. No, nothing can come between us. No, never with you.
In the same way that our relationship dynamic excels and is enriched when we surrender or submit to the process that God has for us to get to know Him and get closer to Him, it's no different. It's the same kind of process when we are developing the relationships that we have down here, especially those that go into and elevate into marriage. That no, is not this predictable, calculative thing, because we are transcendent human beings. Like we transform and we go through so many seasons and we change. I'm definitely not the same person that my husband met at 17, and he's definitely not that same person. But the principles that we use to apply to adjust and transition throughout those seasons are. Right. And then each season we take on the principle, and then it elevates us and it transforms us to be made new. Right. And those new people don't ever feel like they grow apart from each other, because we're both pulling from the same source, and we're pulling and using those same principles that, because they're beyond time, they could be applied through every season of life. And we find, each other at each stage, and we delight in discovering who that new person is, and it makes the relationship be continually interesting and continue to delight in each stage that we discover. And it's a wonderful experience, and it's quite the opposite from what my husband likes to call the devil's hamster wheel, right? Of the patterns that you go through when you disconnect from God or you disconnect from love. There's a different pathway and different experiences and different outcomes. And I was just saying to a recent coaching session that I had to the participants that were on, I said, it's so interesting that in the world, sometimes we're led to believe, or we think that what's common is natural, right? And then those two things, because it's a common experience that is happening to the masses, then that's noted as just a natural process. And then now it becomes distorted and known as the truth. But there are really only two pathways, right? We know that there is the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan, or the kingdom of the devil and the enemy. And yeah, in both those roads, there's different variations, right, of that pathway and results that you get from either making your choice. But oftentimes, right, like for instance, the defaulted idea of like when you get married, the relationship just, it's better when you're single, because maybe you'll be having more intimacy, you'll be having more sexual intimacy. Life just starts to kind of, just suck you dry, basically, and you fall into this mundane type of relationship where you're not really enjoying each other. There's a lot of people who really feel like that, and go through that process where maybe the man is trying to go out to the bar or go somewhere just to escape his wife, and the wife is just coping, and she's probably physically going through the process of doing things, but internally she is in turmoil. Right? All of these things that people are most definitely going through, but there's a reason why they're going through that. There's a reason why. And when there are no solutions, or there are no skill sets or tools provided, and these are the things that are constantly reoccurring, not knowing that they're occurring because, wait, hold on, you chose a road that was outside the pathway of God. And let me tell you this, it's not just the people, it is also the people who have declared salvation. It is the people who have declared, I believe in Jesus Christ, because they took on the salvation, but they might not have took on totally the healing part of it, right? There's people who get saved, they take on Christ, and they can go to heaven with, not having, either broken bodies or broken hearts. That won't deny them, you know, their entrance into heaven. However, how they experience life down here could be a hell of another sort, right? So with that acceptance of Christ, there is an invitation of healing. There is access to healing, but the transformation, right? The necessary things, the accountability that has to come into place. Many people avoid that, so they resist the healing and they don't get it. So even the people who have accepted Christ can still be on that defaulted system, right? And they might not be able to, they won't be able to experience the truth in that if you have decided to commit to each other wholeheartedly and develop your relationship in a space that God has endorsed and God has blessed, then there should be an elevation that you experience, not a decline when you get married. Sex should not become worse when you get married. It should become better, especially if it's a marital union that's under God, because you experience an elevation, right? You experience the elevation. Your purpose and your dreams shouldn't be thwarted, or derailed because now you're married and the responsibilities now take over those spaces. No, the two of you guys are supposed to provide support for each other and facilitate to be able to accomplish your dreams further, because now two is better than one. So that's the truth. But if there aren't many people talking about the principles that are needed to be placed in the relationship for people to experience these truths, then what's going to be, right, spread is more so the opposite, right? And the defaulted system that occurs when people don't align themselves in the truth, or don't align themselves in God, or don't align themselves in love.